been quite a while since we've had a nation's guide, and I thought this time, in this particular video, my friends, we bring the 13 colonies into sharp focus here. I know a number of you voted for 13 colonies in the recent sort of vote on which a new campaign we should do. I know the Knights of St. John came first, but the 13 colonies came very, very close to actually competing with the Knights of St. John. I thought it might be sort of apt to put out sort of a guide, as it were, for those who maybe recently got Empire Total War, or those who maybe have had Total War for a while, campaigned a long time on it, but never done 13 colonies. I personally have never done the 13 colonies. I've never played 13 colonies, so this is completely new to me as well. But I'm just going to give this sort of, we're going to give a breakdown of the sort of economic sort of facilities you have, the military facilities you have, who your friends are, who are your foes. Maybe look at the tactical and strategic sort of positions you can sort of move from under the 13 colonies, what restrictions you might have. So we're going to look at everything, but nothing too much detail. We're just going to sort of give a sort of broad brushstroke of what is happening here when you sort of have the 13 colonies under your control, what you can do with it. So let's first of all look at where we start off with. As you can see, 13 colonies are well established here in North America. And as you might sort of gather here by sort of the flag, as it were, it is a sort of a British colony in inverted commas. It is sort of the British sort of colonial assets, as it were. So Britain sort of, controls North America before the Revolution with the 13 colonies. So as you can probably see here from the diplomatic tab, we have a quick diplomacy here. Britain here is actually a protectorate of the 13 colonies. So you've got quite a powerful sort of empire at the time, quite a powerful sort of, how should I say, father figure, should we say, overlooking you here. You've got obviously you've got that immediate trade link, you've got that immediate sort of facility to be able to call upon Britain to aid you if you sort of come under attack or under pressure from a certain foe, which in this case would probably be either Spain or France. Now I know that's sort of, we look at in greater detail, but I know there was a huge sort of, in this time, there was a sort of a huge, should we say, conflict of interest between Spain, Britain, France and North America, vying for that territory, vying for the right to sort of rule this sort of, at the time as it was, a colony of Great Britain. And of course we've got the native Indians sort of mixed into that as well. So it really was a sort of maelstrom, this morass really, that sort of brought forth the revolution and America we sort of see today as the sort of the, shall we say, the indigenous, the colonies sort of broke free of British rule, wanted to rule themselves, and that's where we have the revolution. And as you can see here, the two sort of main hubs of the sort of the 13 colony are Philadelphia and Boston. As you can see already, Philadelphia is a pretty well established sort of city, as it were. Still some work to be done, but it is probably the biggest sort of initial production centre, economic centre you have at your disposal. And of course you've got Boston, which of course can be built up quite extensively here. But personally, I would be looking also at New York. As you can see here, New York has quite a lot of trade flowing through it here, directly into the New York sort of trading port here, which will prove absolutely vital to your trade and also your economic health here as the 13 colonies. Because New York really is the one, sort of the one bastion here, as you can see, where the trade is flowing in and out. So the trade is moving from through the New York trading port here, directly to New York, and then spreading out further afield, moving along. You've got all these intersecting sort of different land masses here, but you can also see trade moving through between Boston and Philadelphia, and of course it's moving as well. It's going to be moving across all of these lands here eventually, all through these sort of roadways. Eventually we'll have this real bustling infrastructure here. But remember, it is going to take quite a lot of investment to sort of keep or to build up the 13 colonies where you needed to be. Some of these cities, you can see Philadelphia here, do need quite a considerable amount of investment to get them up to where they need to be, particularly in the sort of the term of barracks and also a sort of government council to bring that sort of control over the populace, as it were, to keep the populace under control, as it were. Conservatorium, of course, that would help as well. Of course, we've got the Admiralty, which again will be vital, because as you can see, we are on the sort of the northwestern sort of seaboard here, and this is going to be a vital thing to really focus on, is your naval forces as well, because you are sort of squashed sandwiched, dare I say, between two very powerful, potentially powerful foes, and that is France here and also Spain here down in the south. So France in the north, Spain here in the south, and of course intermixed with that you also have the native Indians as well, and the native Indians were used by the particular powers sort of in the region to fight this sort of own proxy wars. So Spain would use certain native Indians to fight the British but not get directly involved, and the same with France. France would use the native Indians to fight the British as well, so they wouldn't sort of be directly involved in any fighting, and the British did the same thing to both the Spanish and the French as well. So the native Indians were used almost as pawns, puppets in some ways for the greater powers. Not always, but you sometimes found, or particularly in this campaign, you will find that sometimes France will use sort of, the Iroquois here, Iroquois, to fight British assets, and the same with the Spanish here, who have some strong sort of ties with some of the native Indians here, and they use this to fight this proxy war where no power is directly involved. They just use somebody else to do their dirty work for them, as it were. So that is something to consider as well, especially when you've got the native Indians. If you can get the native Indians on your side, then they can be a very, very powerful foe, a very powerful ally even. So if you can use them, or if you can at least enlist them as allies to your cause, they definitely will prove a huge, huge bonus. They really will. And that is something that I would definitely look at trying to do, is trying to sort of bring them on board, get them on as an ally, because they can prove exceptionally beneficial to you. And of course, as I was saying here, you start off with 9,000 here in terms of available funds, and a very, very healthy starting budget. That is probably more than most get. Normally, most campaigns start with 7,500. Some will start with 10, maybe 12, but that is very, very exceptional. 9,000 is a very, very healthy starting budget. It really, really is. And let's have a look at the quick, sort of a deeper look here. Get almost 3,000 per turn straight away. But as you can see, the army upkeep is pretty substantial straight away. And of course, the tax income is very, very low. Of course, because the cities and the towns and also the infrastructure here is not fully sort of up to spec, as it were. Of course, you've got a sort of a minefield here that isn't even got a mine on it. Of course, you've got sort of the farmland here that needs investing in. You've got plantations that need investing in. You've got loggers and trappers that need sort of gain furs from. So you've got quite a lot to sort of spread. That 9,000 looks a lot, but in fact, for what you have to do with that, as you can see, look, within the space of these two sort of regions, you've got two minefields here that haven't even got mines in them, and they would probably bring in a healthy amount. Yeah, 1,050 here in Pennsylvania, and here in 1,050 again another iron mine here in New York. So again, that looks a lot, that 9,000, but actually when you consider what you have to do with that 9,000, it isn't very much. So you're really going to have to sort of retarget your forces, your sort of resources, to get what you want here. And of course, again, there's another minefield here in Maine here, which again hasn't been developed at all, and that will give you an additional 700 of region wealth. So you can really build up quite substantially here quite quickly. If you focus on sort of the mineral wealth here of the regions, you can establish quite a decent income here in terms of the regional wealth. And of course, farms are going to be crucial to feed your populace as well. And of course, you've already got some plantations, tobacco plantation here set up, and there will be various other sort of investments you can make here. Of course, you've got the farmland as well here. Additional farmland in and Hupporge here. I really do apologise for that pronunciation. It's probably absolutely completely wrong. And some of Cape Cod here are already sort of well established. And you've got Falmouth here, which hasn't got anything going on. As you can see, they're not sort of growing here, these towns whatsoever, because the tax rate here is pretty high, I would imagine. Indeed, it is. So if you were to sort of drop the tax here, tax levels, especially for the middle class and the nobility, that would encourage growth. Now, I have learnt that from you, my friends. The council has advised me in the past that if I drop the sort of tax levels, it encourages growth, both economic and sort of citizen growth, the populace growth as well. You've taught me that, so I'm sort of this is information that I've gained from those who comment and sort of support the channel. So again, I would encourage you to drop the taxes, because you don't really need taxes at the moment. Things are quite calm here for the 13 colonies. Of course, there are a few nations you have to keep an eye on, but ultimately you could probably drop the tax here for these gentlemen, although they would hit this here pretty hard. Ultimately, what you're going to see is town growth. And although you don't see it now, the tax burden is down. Of course, the government type is not sitting well with the populace. Eventually, you are going to see growth. As you can see, a clamour for reform. The government type again, of course, because they are, effectively sort of under the rule of Britain. So that is not sitting well with the populace. But ultimately, you are going to probably get that turnaround here, especially when you start investing in these regions. Again, you want to get barracks up pretty quickly. You want to get a cannon foundry up. Definitely get a governor's residence and a conservatorium, which will help with happiness of middle and lower class, middle class and nobility. Of course, you've got the governor's residence, which is going to give you bonus attacks and repression as well. Again, bringing the populace more around to sort of your type of style of government, as it were. Barracks are of course going to bring in the colonial line infantry, and also some colonial light cavalry. So definitely you're going to have to look to invest in that pretty quickly as well. But again, personally, if it was me, I would establish my economy first. So I would invest in the mines. I would invest here in the trapper. They've got 2 trappers actually here, 1,500. That's quite expensive, but again, it's going to increase your trade. And because they're both within New York, well, one is within New York, and one is very close here in Boston. It's going to be close access, immediate access to the sort of the New York trade line, as it were, here, and that's going to mean this fur is going to be immediately shipped out across the seas, and then your trade is going to become sort of really be boosted. But there's a but to that as well. This is the only port you have. If this is blockaded by Spain or by Britain, by France, beg your pardon, you are going to be in trouble, because this is your main source of income. It is therefore vital that you guard this with your life. It really is, and that means probably investing in some 5th-rate ships. I know you've got 1 slot here at the moment, but if it was me personally, one of the first things that I would do is invest in a ship, and then I would invest in a ship every single turn if the money was available. If it did not mean I went bankrupt. Do not invest in things, my friends, if it means you're going to go bankrupt next turn, because all you're doing is you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. It means you've got to then cut back on somewhere else to then get yourself out of bankruptcy, and that is completely, it goes against everything you're trying to do here. Cut your cloth according to what you can afford, because that really is the sort of the basis of the economics here. Live within your means. Don't sort of go, expanding massive militarily. Don't go expanding your navy, your land armies. If you're going to invest in your army, at either the same turn or the next turn, invest in your economy. So you're balancing things out. So say you build 3 units of line infantry, then next turn, invest a similar amount into your economy. Something that's going to give you something back. So then you're balancing your economy, you're balancing your army, your navy with your economy. So your economy is able to adapt and sort of grow with the sort of the expansion you're also pushing onwards. So that's something to also consider as well. And as I was saying before, your location here is it's pretty well established here, all the way down from Virginia right here to Maine. You've got a very, very good starting position here. Of course, the army keepers are saying you've got trade is 2,000, which is very, very good, to be honest with you. Again, we can reduce the tax levels if you want to encourage growth, which of course is going to hit you're going to hit your income tax, but eventually that income tax will grow because there's growth in the economy, because people are not paying so much tax so they're able to spend more money in the economy and the sort of the wider economy. Now, some of key ministers here. Now, of course, you've got Francis Nicholson the first. Not brilliant leader at all, and it's a constitutional monarchy government. So in other words, it's sort of you can vote. It's not sort of the absolute monarchy. So this is a sort of a democracy, as it were, a democratic monarchy, as it were. So as you can see, like uniforms, -10 recruitment costs for all land units. So that is actually very good. That's going to drive down the cost of recruitment for your, so as it says here, land armies. Promotes favourites, -1 to management, +1 to nobility. Now that's not good for your management in terms of your economy or your sort of your military sort of your army. So again, you've got your head, sort of your, dare I say, your prime minister, as it were, here is Cornelius Hickey, not going to give you anything at all. And then you've got Treasury, which is absolutely dire. This is the person you need to kick out as soon as you possibly can. -4 to bonus to global tax income. -15 to the bonus to the growth of the trade route. Diabolical. And -8 per turn to town wealth. That is even worse. That is horrendous. And horrendous sort of treasury, as it were, treasury minister. You need to kick this gentleman out immediately. And straight away you've already got someone better. You're not getting any bonuses, but you're also not losing anything now. So that's definitely something you need to do. And then maybe down the the following turn, you can kick him out and try and find somebody who's going to replace it. Remember, you can't drag and drop the ministers you want. This is a constitutional monarchy. In other words, it's a democracy. So you have to vote these people in and out, these ministers out, this cabinet in and out. And the monarch, of course, Francis Nicholson the First. It's not sort of a monarch, as it were, but if you can understand what I mean, it's sort of a puppet government, as it were. Justice is actually pretty good here. Army is very good. -1 for recruitment costs, +2 technology research rate, and -2 for upkeep costs. And the Navy is good as well. That's a very good naval minister. Good army minister. This is the person you want to focus on. The following turn, if it's possible, kick him out again. Try and get someone with at least 4 stars. You might even get lucky and get someone with a 5-star here, because you can see these gentlemen here are actually +1 to management, a stall holder. So this Ridley Baines would be absolutely perfect as a treasury minister. He would bring huge amounts of benefits to the economy here. It's really important. Many people sort of overlook sort of the ministers, but they can absolutely tip the campaign in your favour. They sort of sit in the background and you don't really think about them. But if you've got the right minister, if you've got a good combination of ministers, especially if you've got a bad sort of leader, -1 prestige and -10 to public relations, the ministers can balance out a sort of a bad leader and also lead you into quite the bright future. Got someone who can really do their job well, that really will push you into a real bright future. So again, that's really important. And trade here, as you can see, we've got trade Great Britain, of course, our biggest trade partner, and the Cherokee nations as well. Sort of that's going to be a land-based here with the Cherokees. So the Cherokees here, they are, I believe, let's have a quick look at the diplomatic status here with the Cherokees. We're friendly with them, so we don't have any agreements with them yet at the moment, but again we could request an alliance with them, and that would probably secure this area here, especially against the Spanish here in Florida. Florida really is a key point here for the Spanish. So again, your starting position is very, very good, but of course, as I was saying earlier on, you have your sort of sandwich between the French in Canada, so be very, very wary of this friendship, because they start off very friendly with you. Here, they start friendly with you, and actually +35 is not too bad. You could probably request a trade agreement with them, which would give you, sort of access immediately to the sort of the Canadian sort of deposits of minerals and wealth here. But also you've got here the Iroquois here as well, and let's have a quick look at the Iroquois. They're friendly as well, and again you could probably get trade with them. So if you really wanted to sort of have a very sort of, how would I say, a stable beginning to your campaign, it's very, very important that you reach out to the local sort of inhabitants, be it the French, the Spanish, the native Indians, and try and establish trade, try and establish a friendly rapport with them, try and sort of be a good neighbour, as it were, until you're ready not to be a good neighbour, so that when you're ready to strike out and take what you want, you have everything in place, so you can basically look after yourself in terms of being able to support your economy, be able to support your armies without any sort of external help from trade. Or, if you are going to keep your trade routes open, it's vital you have a fleet able to keep your main port open, which at the start is New York. So that really is important to consider here. And of course, we've got Spain here in Cuba, and we've got them in Florida. We've also got, there's Santo Domingo here. We've got in the Caribbean here, we've got Britain. Of course, we've got France here in the Windward Islands. Again, we've got the pirates here. It really is important you keep some ships to stop the pirates blocking your trade routes. Of course, we've got the United Provinces, the Netherlands here as well, who will be quite good supporters of yours. They are friendly towards you, and of course you've got France here and French Guiana. So these are very, very rich areas here. They've got Punta as well, and of course then we've got the Protectorate of Spain, which is New Spain, but again a very, very wealthy region for Spain as well. Of course we've got then the Pueblo nations here in Texas, and you've got the Black Hills nations up here as well. Of course, Britain also has Rupert's Land, which is their sort of main foray into sort of North America, Canada. So that's pretty much your starting position where you're coming from. And as you can see, you've got quite a lot of options. Personally, if it was me, I would start with barracks, and I would start with government council and get the sort of government and the sort of military buildings up and running straight away. And of course, infrastructure is key. I cannot stress how important it is for the infrastructure to be up and running. So it's, again, balance out your economy, use your money wisely, and invest in infrastructure, because it really will, prove dividends. You will gain many dividends from that if you invest in your infrastructure. Faster movement of armies, faster movement of goods. Much better income from your tax, because your goods are moving much quicker between the two your different regions and also your trade partners. So it really is vital. Also, get up most of these natural resources here. Excuse me. Are really going to be important as well. So invest in your economy, and your economy will pay you back in really well. It really will. Again, basic roads. No basic roads here in the Carolinas. Get the Carolinas linked up to the rest of the US. To the North America here, get it linked up here to Virginia. Once you've got the Virginia, so you see this is a dirt road basically. As you can see, a basic road, so basically a dirt road. But if you increase it to here, it's not even basic roads. There's not even a basic roads here. It just goes to Georgetown. So again, if you've got basic roads built up, it's going to connect you to the Cherokees and also to the rest of your sort of empire here in North America, and it's going to get that goods flowing, the military flowing. You've got some. You can start off with some good armies down here. Of course, we've got rangers and skirmishers, which are going to be pretty common in this part, especially with the native Indians being around here as well. And again, pikemen, as many of you know, I'm not really a huge fan of pikemen. Personally, if it was me, I would. Oh, look at this! You've got an excellent selection here of native Indians to be able to throw into battle here. And you've got cannon. You've got mounted tribals. Hessian line infantry would be excellent to use. I would definitely put some native warrior auxiliary melee troops, because they are fantastic in battle. And the bowmen can be very good. They can sort of camouflage themselves very well in battle, sneak up on the enemy, do a lot of damage before the enemy even knows where they are. So that would be wonderful to see that. So some pretty good recruitment options there. Again, getting the governor's residence, establishing your footprint on this land is vital. And the same here as well. Infrastructure, get basic roads in Maine as well, so it connects to Boston, because Boston and Philadelphia really will be huge cities eventually. Absolutely huge cities. New York, again, get the governor's residence up, increase the road. You can recruit some good units here as well. But let's have a look now, my friends, at research. You've got nothing here to research. Not a single thing. So there are going to be points where you are going to be able to look at the towns here. Now there, Hartford. Now Hartford is going to take 2 turns before that it becomes available for you to sort of develop. There's Hartford here. Now personally, if it was me, the first thing I would do with Hartford is make it into a school. Get your technology up. Do not fall behind on technology, because those of you who've watched my Knights of St. John campaign know how vital it is that we get research. And research, you really cannot fall behind in research at all, especially to the main powers, especially to France and Spain. It is really crucial that Hartford here is developed into a school. Personally, if it was me, it would be a school immediately. Get that technology running, and it will prove it, massive to you in the long run. Let's have a look here. Philadelphia. There's no village growing here at all. So maybe Dover here might be growing, maybe Lewis here as well, We've got Harrisburg here as well, but I would definitely make Hartford here, without a shadow of a doubt. I'd make that my school. Any here? No villages growing here. So growth is pretty stunted here at the moment. Nope, nothing. So we're looking at technology here. So let's have a look at the troops that we can get here for future reference. So barracks, it's going to give you colonial light infantry. It's going to give you colonial light cavalry. Eventually, when you get light infantry doctrine, it's going to get colonial light infantry, and then they're going to get colonial dragoons when you get carbines. So again, the red circle means you require technology to be able to get these units. So again, you're starting off with some basic here straight away in barracks. Drill school. Oh my goodness me. That is wonderful to see. It gives you a plethora here. Oh, mountain troops. Look at the accuracy there, absolutely fantastic. So you're going to get mountain troops, you're going to get buccaneers, pirates effectively. You've got a good selection here of East Indian Company, East Indian Lancers. Lancers are excellent here, look at that charge bonus, maximum charge bonus. You're going to get blunderbuss shotgunners, you're going to get colonial line infantry, hussars, rangers, grenadier guards, East India Company, Highlander Warband, and of course the standard grenadiers, regiment of horse. But of course these require the red circle around requires technology, so you require plugged bayonet for Royal Cairo Infantry Guards. Oh, look at that Scottish Line Infantry, you jest, sir, surely. That is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Again, you're going to get engineers, horse grenadier guards, when you get carbines. Plugged bayonets actually opens up quite a bit here. Oh, new models, so we get line infantry guards here, light infantry dot, fire by rank will give us fusiliers, wedge formation will give us lancer guards, which is the first I've ever seen. That is, look at that, 27 charge bonus, that is going to devastate anything in its path. So again, get your technology up, my friends. This proves how vital technology is to you. Then from drill school we're going to get a military academy. Let's see the additions we'll get there. Oh, native Indian cavalry, that's fantastic. Sharpshooters, hussars as we've had before, buccaneers. There's not really a great... Oh, Scottish Line Infantry, of course, engineers. Nothing really different much here. Mountain troops. Ah, there it is. Cuirassiers. The heavy duty cavalry, the heavy cavalry here, own heavy cavalry and cuirassiers. Those two are going to be absolutely vital. Military academy is going to be important for that heavy cavalry, which you're going to need for future operations. And then we've got army board. And again, standard as all the others, but again you got lifeguards. Then you've got the Black Watch, again, which is native to the British, to Britain. What else do we have here? Oh, we've got riflemen, line infantry guards, of course, standard here, heavy cavalry, sharpshooters, grenadier guards, and last but not least, the absolute apogee here of the military, the guards unit. All of these then will gain a experience echelon. What else do we get here? East India Company and East Company Lancers. We got some wonderful troops, cuirassiers, lifeguards. Oh, Republican Guard. So you get some really good. You don't get a full amount you would as Britain or Spain or France, but you get some very, very good troops here indeed. Some excellent troops. And again, for the engineering school, you're going to get the standard sort of 32 pounders. And also remember, I also must state that I'm using this is for Darth Mod, but I'm also using the additional units mod as well. So the additional units mod is why I'm getting these additional units here. I'll put a link in the description about the additional mods. If you download that, you will get these additional units I'm talking about here. So that's why you're seeing these. You may say, well, Mala, I don't get with Darth Mod, but if you get the additional units mod, that will actually add to these additional units to the Darth Mod campaign as well, without any problems at all. It doesn't conflict with Darth Mod at all. So as you can see here, we still get 32 pounders, we get 24 pounders, and regular 24 pounders horse guard as well. So absolutely fantastic. What do these give us anything here? Sometimes they'll give you additional forces, but not here at the moment today. No. And let's have a look at our naval facilities here. What do we get in terms of, oh, look at that. If you get a naval college, you get Marines late and Marines, early Marines. Or early Marines here if you get naval board, or Marines if you just get an Admiralty. That is absolutely fantastic. So that's a wonderful site to get there. It really, really is. I don't think there's anything else really here. We could probably have a look. We don't have the facilities here to look into sort of the naval facilities you'll be getting as well. But I'd imagine these going to open up here. This here. There it is, Naval Hospital. Naval Hospital is going to give you heavy first rates. Do we get any special ships here? Sometimes you'll get a special ship. Victory. You actually can get HMS Victory here in the 13 colonies. Usual HMS Victory is for Britain only. But in this particular instance we can get HMS Victory as well, because of course you're a colony of Britain, so obviously it would make some kind of sense that you would get one of the sort of the elite ships, the first rate ship of the line, of course, the absolute apogee here, the pinnacle of British firepower on the seas here. Absolutely wonderful to see. Now, last, my friends, but by no means least, is where you're going to strike out for. Now, personally, if it was me, I would definitely be looking at Spain, because they only control one region here, Florida. And I cannot stress how important Florida is to Spain. It is really the anchor here, the key, the linchpin of what they hope to do here. You can use Florida in two ways. If you already hold Florida, you can use it to expand outwards, because as you can see here, it's already got heavy fortifications around it. You can withstand a lot of pressure. If you've got a full stack army in Florida, it's going to take quite a lot to dig you out of here. But if you want to take Florida, it then gives you access, very quick access, to Cuba and to Santo Domingo. It gives you access to the Caribbean here, and indeed access to New Spain as well. You gain quite a lot here. It doesn't look like you gain a lot in terms of what you get within the sort of land itself, but the strategic positioning of Florida really is absolutely vital, because it gives you access also to New Orleans. It also gives you access to Texas. You can use Florida to move through. Of course, if you've got an alliance here with the Cherokees, you can obviously move through their land, but it's not the same. Trust me when I say Florida is important if you're looking to move against Spain, or maybe if you look to, if you can gain a fleet, get an army together, some armies together, you might be able to strike Spain here in Cuba. Cuba is a very, very wealthy island indeed, it really is. Maybe you can start striking against you, but again, beware of the pirates. They are a menace. Or, if it takes within you, you could probably remove the native Indians that aren't friendly to your cause, which is in here is the Iroquois, and also you've got the Huron up here. Now this would give you access here to Canada. If you were to take Huron, it would give you access to this. Strategically, tactically, you'd be pretty well established here in Canada, and that would give you, of course, the ability to strike at the Moose Factory and indeed into Quebec, Montreal. But again, we're on the border here. If you can deal an almighty blow here, a damaging blow, a killing blow to these Iroquois here, this would give you control, the rest of the control here of what we would call sort of North America as it is now today. And then you would have access, unhinged access here to Canada, to France, because eventually France will decide to take you on here, and that's something that you need to really, really consider. But my friends, I'm going to leave that here. Of course, please, as always, please keep your comments coming down below of what you've done. If you've played 13 Colonies, please let me know how you've gone about it, playing it. Please let me know what your tactics were, what your strategies were. If I've missed anything out, please let me know. And put in the comments what you think you would do if you were playing 13 Colonies. Who would you strike against? Who would you ally with? Who would you trade with? That type of thing. Please let me know your tactics as well as your strategies. It really helps to sort of combine and bring it together, to pool the resources, as it were. But I hope you enjoyed this quick overview, my friends, of 13 Colonies. I hope to get another one out as well pretty soon. It's going to be a total a Warhammer video coming out next now for the Empire, which has been a long time in the waiting. But I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please comment down below, my friends. Please keep your comments coming down below. They're absolutely fantastic. Hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you're having a good week thus far. Please be safe whatever you're doing. But until then, my friends, bye for now.